The classic showdown, right? The individual homeowner going toe-to-toe with their homeowners association. It's a story that plays out in neighborhoods all over. But today, we're going to dive deep into one specific legal case to see how these things actually get decided.
And believe it or not, this entire legal battle, it went all the way to an administrative law judge. It all kicked off because of something buried in the ground, a set of pipes. Seems pretty simple, but as you're about to see, the devil is always in the details.
So that's the big question we're tackling. Who was actually in the right here? In one corner, you've got the homeowner, Michael J. Stoltenberg, and in the other, the Rancho Del Oro Homeowners Association. Both sides were absolutely convinced they were correct. So let's dig into the evidence and the arguments and see who the law sided with.
Okay, so to really get what's going on, we have to start with the homeowner's original complaint. What exactly was he accusing the HOA of doing wrong? So Mr. Stoltenberg's argument was really laser-focused. He was saying the HOA broke its own rulebook, the thing known as CC&Rs, which stands for covenants, conditions, and restrictions. He pointed to one specific rule, Section 2.5, and basically said you had no right to run these pipes across my property for this new well.
Well, as you can imagine, the HOA saw things a little differently. And they didn't just come back with one argument. They showed up with a two-part defense that was designed to completely shut down the homeowner's claim. Let's break down how they did it. The HOA's strategy was pretty smart. First, they attacked the timing. They basically said, look, even if he had a point, he's way too late. The deadline to sue is long gone. That's a legal move called the statute of limitations. But then they also attacked the core of his claim, arguing, and by the way, he's citing the wrong rule completely. The section he's pointing to, it doesn't even apply here. So let's quickly unpack that first argument because it's super important. A statute of limitations is basically a legal countdown clock. The moment an incident happens, the clock starts ticking. And if you don't file your lawsuit before that clock hits 0, you're out of luck. You lose your right to sue, no matter how good your case might have been. And this timeline just lays out the HOA's point perfectly. The law gave him a 4-year window. That clock started ticking when the pipes went in back in summer 2013, which means the deadline to file was summer 2017. But as you can see, Mr. Stoltenberg didn't file his case until January 2018. He missed the deadline. All right, now for the HOA's second argument. This one relies on another key legal idea, something called an easement. Think of it like a legal permission slip. It gives someone the right to use a piece of your property for a very specific reason, like the power company running lines, or, in this case, an HOA running pipes. And this is the critical part of their argument. The HOA said, hey, we didn't create some new pathway. They argued that the rule the homeowner was citing, that CC&R 2.5, was all about granting new easements. What they did, they claimed, was just use an easement that was already there, one that had been in place long before this whole thing started. Okay, so we've got the homeowner's complaint on one side and the HOA's two-part defense on the other. Both sides have laid their cards on the table, so let's get to the moment of truth. What did the judge actually decide? And there it is. Short, sweet, and to the point. The judge sided completely with the Homeowners Association. Mr. Stoltenberg's petition was tossed out. Just like that, the case was over. But just knowing who won or lost is only half the story. To really get what happened here, we need to look at why the judge made this call. Let's unpack the legal reasoning. So the judge actually agreed with both of the HOA's arguments, which is a total knockout. First, the judge found that, yep, the evidence showed the pipes were in an existing easement. That meant the rule the homeowner was hung up on was totally irrelevant. And then, just to hammer the point home, the judge said, even if I'm wrong about that, the case was still filed too late. The homeowner lost on 2 separate counts. And that really leaves us with a fascinating question to think about. This case is a perfect example that you can lose a fight, not just because you're wrong on the facts, but because you messed up the procedure. So what do you think is more important in a legal battle? Being right or making absolutely sure you follow every single rule and deadline along the way?